Hello and welcome to my channel. Today is Tuesday, which means it's time for Missing and Murdered. Bear with me, I am getting over a cold. I was gone last week because it was my wedding anniversary and also because I had the flu. Now I've got the cold. It's never ending. Anyway, it's a short one today. They usually are because, you know, missing. Don't really have a lot of information on them. But we're just gonna hop into it. Kent Leppink was a fisherman who was killed in Hope, Alaska in May of '96. His former fiancée, Michelle Linehan, and former roommate, John Carlin, were convicted of murdering him in 2007, but the judgments were reversed on appeal. Carlin died in prison in 2008, and Alaska prosecutors ultimately decided against indicting Linehan a second time. Kent was a Michigan native who moved to Alaska to work as a fisherman. He met Linehan at a strip club. Between 1994 and 1996, Linehan was romantically involved with Kent and a man named John Carlin at the same time. For several months, the three lived in the same house in Anchorage. On May 2nd, 1996, Kent was found dead in Hope, Alaska with 3.44 caliber Desert Eagle gunshot wounds. Linehan was arrested over 10 years later in October 2006 and convicted of his murder on October 22, 2007, but the verdict was overturned in February of 2010. At trial, Linehan was accused of conspiring with John Carlin to kill Leppink. The government said that Linehan's motive was that she was the beneficiary of Kent's $1 million life insurance policy. Kent changed the beneficiary on the policy just a few days before his death. Convenient for her. On October 22, 2007, Linehan was convicted of murder. On April 2, 2008, she was sentenced to 99 years. Should have had to serve that. And transferred to Highland Mountain Correctional Center in Eagle River, Alaska. Carlin had also been convicted of murder in April 2007. He was found bludgeoned to death in his cell at the Spring Creek Correctional Center in Seward, Alaska on October 27, 2008. That might be Seward or Seward. If you know, let me know in the comments. But, yeah. So, his conviction was overturned in January of 2015, but, he was dead. Because Carlin died while his case was under appeal, his estate was allowed to continue the appeal, so his family members could appeal on his behalf, basically. On February 5th, 2010, the Alaska Court of Appeals overturned Linehan's convictions. The court concluded it was improper for the trial court to allow two pieces of evidence into the trial: testimony about the movie The Last Seduction, and a letter written by Kent on the days before he died. The letter, which Kent wrote to his parents, said Linehan, Carlin, or Scott Hike were probably responsible if he died under suspicious circumstances. Until May 11, 2010, Linehan was incarcerated at Highland Mountain Correctional Center. On April 28, 2010, a judge set a $250,000 plus appearance bond as a condition of her bail. So that's basically just saying you have to pay the bail, but you also have the condition of appearing in court. And if you don't appear in court, then obviously your bail is revoked and you could be brought in to be, you know, arrested or whatever. Or you can be arrested and brought in that way. So you would essentially go back to jail if you didn't appear in court. On May 11, 2010, an East Coast corporate executive, Brian C. Watt, from Chester Springs, Pennsylvania, donated the money necessary to release Linehan from prison, paying a $250,000 bail bondsman, paying a $25,000 bail bondsman fee. I don't know, Brian. I don't know if Brian knows Linehan. Bruh. Pick better women, because this is not what you need to get involved with. On December 13, 2011, Anchorage Superior Court Judge Philip Volland dismissed the murder indictment against Linehan. In his ruling, Volland wrote, quote, "The Court of Appeals repeatedly stated that the letter from the grave appreciably affected the jury's verdict at Linehan's trial. If it did so at a trial where the evidence was contested, defense counsel present, and the jury given on even stronger limiting instruction on the use of the letter, this court cannot find that Betsy Leppink's repetition of Hence, accusatory statement in the letter was not a decisive factor in the grand jury's decision to indict. Therefore, the indictment should be dismissed. End quote. On August 6, 2012, Alaska prosecutors announced they would not indict Linehan again. They should have. On July 27, 2008, Linehan's case was profiled on Dateline NBC because that's who we should be concerned with. The woman that probably, let's be real, probably killed her husband and had to go to jail for a few days. That's who we should be focused on with this case, not the man who was, murdered. An update aired on May 22nd, 2009, because again, that's what we care about. On January 29th, 2009, Linehan's case was profiled on the Oxygen Network series Snapped. I've seen it, and she's cuckoo bananas. So, also in 2009, Linehan's case was profiled on the CBS series 48 Hours. Also seen it. The episode was named Love and Death in Alaska. You know, when you really think, you don't really hear a whole lot about Alaska and crime. And I'm not stupid. I know there's crime everywhere. I know there's crime in Alaska, but I'm just saying, like, is it because there's very few people who live in Alaska? Like, how populated is Alaska? It's cold. Also, it's, like, deadly cold in some places. Is that why there's not much crime? Because y'all can't leave your houses? Or do you just, like, get used to it, like the people in Arizona get used to the summer? Linehan's case was also profiled in 2009, again, because this is who we need to focus on, as part of the E-Network program Fatal Beauty, 15 Most Notorious Women. I like how none of these cases focused on Kent. Not one. Not a one. On January 22nd, 2018, Linehan's case was profiled on the investigation discovery series People Magazine Investigates episode Alaskan Temptress. Like, literally everything out there paints this woman as a murderer. And she probably is. I mean, the reality is that, like, he basically said, if I die, this bitch did it. And they were like, now you're good. And that's our justice system for you. Anyway, with that being said, that is the end of the segment. That's really all I had. Like, there wasn't a whole lot in here. There wasn't even really anything about evidence that they had. I don't know if that's because at the time, that John Carlin's estate was still appealing his conviction. I'm not really sure why there wasn't a whole lot about the court case itself, like the actual court appearances and the evidence. But yeah, I was very hung up on the fact that they didn't try her a second time. They should have. She should have had to pay for what happened. And if she really did it, and they had the ability to back that up, and you know they did because she was convicted once, then why not try her again? You're gonna probably get the same result as the first time. But I don't know if it's because there was certain evidence that had to be, like, dismissed. If maybe that's why they chose not to try her again, because that was, like, their you know, definite, she did this because this, and this, and all of that testimony was based on stuff that they were no longer allowed to use. I don't know. That being said, document everything. Yeah, that's all I got for you. As always, make good choices. Be cautiously kind to others, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. And I'll see you guys later. Bye!